Welcome back to New Hampshire Today with Jack Heath. It's more than politics. It's where you can get informed on all the news and happenings of your day. News Radio 610 and 96.7. We are your news, traffic, and weather station.
All right, welcome back. And right now, caller number 4 to the Auto Fair listener line, 645-6161, 645-6161. Experience what a driver will experience at NASCAR September 21st. You and a friend will be the lucky winners. We're going to take a qualifier right now. We'll let you know who the winner is before that race, of course, that week. Get to experience a driver's meeting, see what they go through, see them and the owners, the pit, watch the race. Jennifer and myself will be there. Call number 3 right now. Joining us on the Auto Fair listener lines, he cannot win that contest because he's going to be busy tomorrow running for Congress. Dan Innis in the 1st Congressional District on the Republican side. Good morning, Mr. Innis. How are you?
Good morning, Jack. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. Let me say, a couple of our analysts earlier today, I think you may get, while your paid media and the paid media of Frank Ginta may be a little contentious towards each other, you might get the civil award in this race because you publicly, you and Mr. Ginta seem to be talking the issues more, unlike the 2nd District, where at least 2 of the candidates have mixed it up quite a bit. So how do you feel going into tomorrow, and what is the final message to voters, and how do you think you're going to do?
Well, I feel great going into tomorrow. It's been a long process. The last year has been a lot of hard work, but I think it's gone exceptionally well. I've enjoyed meeting people, and what I'm feeling on the ground is very positive. I think, New Hampshire decides elections pretty late in the process, and I think I'm peaking at the right time. So it's a feeling of cautious optimism, let's call it that. But I think it's going really, really well.
Well, I've been around this stuff for a while, and I'm reticent. I'm not gonna predict outcomes. I might say what to watch for. I'll let these other people predict outcomes for tomorrow and predictions. But I have to say, for someone who came out of the business side of things and has never run, your campaign has been a well-run effort, it seems to me. I mean, it seems to me that you've started rather smoothly. You've been consistent on talking about why you're running and what you're running. So what has been the surprise for you? Because not everyone comes out of the non-political world and has a successful run, whether you win or lose. I think people would say you've carried yourself well, and that always does not happen, as you know, in these races. So that may be a good outcome. But what has surprised you most, Dan Innis?
I think what has really surprised me is the amount of attention that the average voter gives to the issues. And we all hear that, people are uninformed, they're not paying attention, and I haven't found that to be the case at all. And it's actually quite refreshing, and, it gives me great confidence in our future as a nation, because as people pay attention to these issues and really start thinking about what they want to get done in Washington and Concord, I think they'll make the right choices, and that was really encouraging to me.
Well,
a nice thing to find.
Well, it might be a nice thing to find, but keep in mind, I think you'd agree with me, Dan Innis, our News Time 724. He's running tomorrow in the GOP primary in the 1st Congressional District. That a lot of the people that you interacted with might be those 18%, the people that go to the barbecues, they take the time to go to a town hall, they take the time to go up and ask you questions. But what about the balance of 100%? Are enough people as well informed as the ones you've been able to campaign with and in front of?
Well, probably not. And it could be, in fact, that what I'm seeing is a little bit unique to New Hampshire, where we certainly pay more attention to politics than I think folks do in a lot of other places.
Right.
Nevertheless, New Hampshire often leads the way, and we lead the way in elections like this, and I'm again confident that we'll lead the way again. And I don't know. You're right, Jack. I mean, it's going to be a low turnout primary tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. But I still feel pretty good about the attention that people give the issues, even those I talk with who are younger and we say may not be paying any attention at all. It's good to see.
Question I like to ask the candidates, I'm going to ask you, if you had to say one moment that stands out on the campaign trail as a funny, a lighthearted, or inspirational, memorable moment, and then a difficult moment.
Wow, there's so many of both. Boy, that's you think about all the questions you might be asked on the radio. That's not one of them, Jack. You got me. I think the most difficult was the first sort of town hall session that I did, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what people would think of me as a candidate. And it was a great evening. It went well, but it was really hard. When you're first getting out there as a candidate, that's tough. I think the best moments recently, and they've happened fairly recently, is parents who are bringing their children to events so they can get involved in the process and begin to understand it. And I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to people who are 16 to 20 years old. Some of them can vote, some can't, who are getting involved and paying attention. And that's really, really nice to see. So parents, get your kids involved. It's important.
Well, good stuff. And do you feel you're going to be successful tomorrow in terms of a win, or do you think it's still an uphill fight with name recognition, or perhaps because Mr. Ginta's name is better known, or do you think something's going to happen? Because some of these pundits, Dan Innis, or analysts have predicted a tighter race than people might expect in the governor's primary, a tighter race in the U.S. Senate primary, a tight race in that second congressional district. No, none of the analysts are saying, boy, so-and-so is just going to run away with this thing. So what do you expect for tomorrow?
I don't expect a runaway in either direction. I think it'll be a close vote. We need people to get out. I need them to vote for me, and I'd like to encourage all of them to do that. But, you know, I do feel that we're well positioned. And as I said at the beginning, I have cautious optimism about tomorrow. I think we're going to pull this through, and, you know, people are ready for change. They want to see a change in Congress. They want to send some folks down there who aren't politicians, but rather business people, and in my case also an educator, who can get things done, and I feel real good about that going into tomorrow.
We've seen factions, Dan, particularly in the Senate race, on certain singular issues like Second Amendment, or in the governor's race, Andrew Hemingway, kind of a libertarian position on certain laws like the death penalty or legalizing marijuana. After this primary, for all these races, do you see the Republican Party, because the national I'd say folks on the Democrat side or national media are playing a lot of the divisiveness in the Republican Party. Do you feel after tomorrow that whoever the winners are in these races, there's going to be a coming together, a unity, or do you think there are some factions that will carry right into the general?
No, I think we'll absolutely come together. I mean, you know, what happens in primaries, of course, is you have two candidates from the same party running against one another, and we look for those differences between the candidates. Mm-hmm. What we often overlook is the similarities between the candidates. And, you know, all of the Republican candidates in this primary agree on the core issues, core principles of the party, and I think that makes it real easy to come together after tomorrow.
Thank you, Dan Innis, for joining us, and as often as you have on New Hampshire Today, and hopefully we'll speak with you either way on the other side of tomorrow. Thank you.
I have a feeling we will. Thanks, Jack.
All right, we'll take a break. We're going to check traffic and weather. We'll come back. More of the candidates, Frank Ginta, in that same race. And then a little bit later on this hour, Scott Brown, Senate candidate on the Republican side. And then the 8 o'clock hour, U.S. Senator Jeanne Shaheen, and more. News Radio 610 and 96.7. Be right back.